Hello everybody, PainCakes here, and I've got some more Titanfall for you guys. And if my voice sounds a little bit scratchy or a little bit sickly, I don't know. I do have some allergies right now. The plants outside are unfortunately having some very, very wild and crazy orgies, and that does not really do my sinuses any favors. So I do apologize if that is distracting. However, I don't have any control over that. Anyway, we are playing some Attrition here. This is actually probably my favorite game type in Titanfall right now. And I like it just because it seems like one of the few game types where there's always something to do. You know, that it's sort of like, if you don't know what Attrition is, it's basically team deathmatch where you also get points for killing grunts inspectors and enemy titans. And, you know, obviously you're going to get fewer points for killing the minions than you are for killing enemy players. But that's basically what it is. I like it because the alternative would be Pilot Hunter, which is a game type where you only get points for killing enemy pilots. Now, given that this game is a 6v6, and the maps are pretty big, it can sometimes be hard to find enemy pilots, especially when half of them are usually going to be in their Titans, which makes it even harder to get at them. So, as a result of that, I feel like with Pilot Hunter, it can be very difficult to, for example, to make a comeback if your team is getting completely stomped, which happens a lot. You know, if you play without a party, you're going to inevitably, since this game doesn't have a mercenary lobby option, you're going to inevitably find yourself going up against an enemy team of like 6 who are pre-made, and that can definitely be very, very frustrating. So, I feel like at least with Attrition, you get more of a fighting chance if you're trying to carry a team than you do in Pilot Hunter, where they'll have like 5 or 6 people in Titans, and that will just completely ruin your day. So, I think Attrition for me is probably my favorite game type. I like them all, though. Don't get me wrong. I do like Pilot Hunter. I do like Hardpoint. I like Capture the Flag. In fact, I've been playing a lot more Hardpoint and Capture the Flag lately since I've been rolling more with a full party in recent days. And they're a lot of fun when you've got a party. There's a lot of strategy involved. I definitely appreciate that. But when I'm going solo, when I'm not playing with a party or anything, I think Attrition's probably my go-to game type. And I hope, and I know that Respawn has said that they're planning on adding more content in the future for free, since they do also recognize that this game, as I said in my last video, is a little bit sparse when it comes to in-game features, right? There are only, I think, 5 or 6 different game types, something like that. There may be a little bit more than that. I don't remember. There's not that many weapons that you can choose from. There are no camos, really, that you can put on your weapons, which seems to be sort of par for the course now, is that almost every shooter that comes out has weapon customizability that includes camo, but that's not really a big deal. But my point is that there isn't really a whole lot of customizability with this game, and that kind of makes me worry that since EA has said that they're going to be doing more of a 3-year rotation with each game between Battlefield, Titanfall, and I think, what was the last one? I think it was Homefront. I think was the third name, or something like it was the Star Wars game. No, not Homefront. I don't think it was Homefront. I don't remember. It was Battlefront, I think, the Star Wars shooter that DICE is doing now. They were going to do a 3-year rotation with those, and you know, that sounds good. That sounds interesting. I like that, but my only concern is with Titanfall, there just isn't that much. And am I going to really be able to find enough in this game to keep me entertained for 2 or 3 years? It's a little bit questionable, isn't it? I don't know. I hope so, but I feel like unless Respawn adds more to the game in terms of, say, game types, in terms of weapon customizability, in terms of class customizability, all of that, it's a little bit up in the air, I think. But as I said, I think I already said this, but Respawn has said they're going to add more. One thing I would definitely like to see would be maybe some kind of a free-for-all game type. I loved free-for-all in Call of Duty because sometimes it's fun to just go in there, lone wolf, you know, not have to worry about a team, and just, you know, every man for himself. I enjoy that. I played a lot of free-for-all in Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, COD 4. I kind of stopped playing it with Modern Warfare 3 simply because the maps were not so good for free-for-all in Modern Warfare 3. The revenge spawn system particularly made free-for-all an absolute nightmare. So I didn't really play much of free-for-all in Modern Warfare 3, but certainly I do enjoy free-for-all as a game type, and I would love to see that introduced to Titanfall. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But you know, that we will see. I don't know what they're planning. Hopefully there's some good stuff. They've already added private matches, so that is a huge plus as far as I'm concerned. I didn't even know why that wasn't in the game in the first place, because every shooter I've ever played, besides I think Battlefield, which also kind of bugged me a little bit, I think they all have private matches. Although, Battlefield, from what I've read from DICE, they are planning on introducing some kind of a private match option, so that's also a good thing. But yeah, so overall, I am still enjoying Titanfall. It is, I think, a pretty good change from the typical Battlefield Call of Duty style of shooter. Call of Duty especially, because for me anyway, I don't know if many of you guys agree, but I think Call of Duty is just getting a little boring. It's getting a little stale. Simply because they keep bringing out the same game year after year after year. I mean, I think the last real innovative Call of Duty title was probably Modern Warfare 2. And believe me, I've had my problems with it. You guys who have been with me since Modern Warfare 2 days know as I was not a huge fan of Modern Warfare 2. But it was innovative. They made changes. It was exciting precisely because they were willing to go in there and they were willing to change things up. They were willing to... how do you say? I don't know. They were just willing to be innovative. And Call of Duty, I think, has really lacked that since then. I know that certain developers have tried to add new things, right? You've got the score streaks with Black Ops 2. You had the specialist support streaks with Modern Warfare 3 and all of that stuff. But at the same time, it's just not quite the same. If you look at Call of Duty 4 and then you look at Modern Warfare 2, there was a huge overhaul. And for better or for worse, that was changed and it was exciting. And I hope that with Call of Duty Ghosts sort of flailing sales, I mean, they blame it on a new console generation, but personally, I think that probably a lot of it is simply because Call of Duty Ghosts wasn't all that great of a game. My hope is that maybe this will wake them up. Maybe this will let them say, hey, we can't just rehash the same game year after year after year and expect to be able to bring in all of these sales and be able to retain that level of excitement. There's always going to be people who will buy Call of Duty games, that's true. But I think a lot of people also, are starting to get sick of it. They're starting to think to themselves, there's nothing new here. There's nothing to be excited about. Battlefield, on the other hand, Battlefield 4 had its problems. Don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near a perfect game. But Battlefield 4, I think, is a much more exciting game for me anyway, simply because there's a lot more to do. And on top of that, if you have it on the PS4 or the Xbox One or PC, if you have a really good gaming PC, the game looks absolutely incredible. I remember the first time I played it, I was just like, I can't believe what I'm doing here. It looks so real, right? But Battlefield 4 I think is a pretty cool game. I never really played much Battlefield in the past, but I think I'm getting more and more into it. It's a lot of fun. It's a very fun game. And definitely on a next-gen console, the technical limitations are definitely a lot less, so they can do a lot more with the game, and it's absolutely incredible. But anyway, Titanfall for me, I think, is a game that definitely introduces a lot of new elements, a lot of new ideas that are fresh and that are exciting. A lot of people ask me, what is Titanfall? A lot of my friends who didn't have an Xbox One who were wondering, what is Titanfall like? It's basically, it's basically a love child between Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Halo. The trifecta of console shooters, right there. It's an interesting game, and I have a lot of great hopes for the franchise. Given that the guys behind Titanfall were the guys behind Modern Warfare 2, which was, love it or hate it, one of the more innovative shooter sequels I've seen. I have a lot of high hopes for Titanfall 2. I have no idea what they're going to do with it. It's very exciting. I hope they don't do what they did with I hope they don't make it like Modern Warfare 2. That would suck. But, I think it's a game that has a lot of potential. I want it to succeed. That's part of the reason why I want it to go multi-platform, is because I think with PS4 players being left out of the loop, it can be kind of harmful to the franchise. So I hope that, and it seems like it's probably going to be the case, that the sequel will go multi-platform and that Titanfall will finally be able to gain a lot of traction in being a serious contender with the likes of Call of Duty, Halo, and Battlefield. But I think that's about it. I think that's all I wanted to say in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.